North Africa, November 1942. In the scorching aftermath of the Second Battle of El Alamein, a German mechanic named Oberleutnant Hans Weber of the Afrika Korps stood frozen before a captured American vehicle. The sand stung his eyes. The sun beat down on his field-gray tunic. Before him sat the most intact enemy trophy his unit had recovered. A Willys MB Jeep, its olive drab paint chipped, its fenders dented, its windshield shattered, but still drivable. According to Nazi propaganda, this vehicle should have been proof of American industrial crudeness, a mass-produced, disposable machine built by a soft, decadent society that made refrigerators and razor blades, not serious war material. But as Weber lifted the hood, his hands trembling slightly in the desert heat, he realized the truth was far more terrifying. This was not a crude machine. It was a death sentence written in standardized bolts. What he saw defied everything he had been taught about engineering, warfare, and German superiority. Here was a simple four-wheel drive system built for mass production, designed for battlefield repair and capable of operating anywhere, from the Libyan desert to the Russian steppe. In that moment, Weber understood the cold mathematical truth the Third Reich refused to accept. The war would not be won by superior tactics, ideological fervor, or battlefield courage. It would be won by the side that could build more vehicles, and America was building 12 Jeeps for every single German Kübelwagen. The propaganda bubble. What German soldiers were told. To grasp the depth of Weber's shock, one must understand the narrative German soldiers had absorbed for years. Nazi ideology framed the conflict as a clash of civilizations. Germany, the pinnacle of Aryan technical mastery, where precision engineering, disciplined craftsmanship, and racial superiority produced weapons of unmatched quality. America, a decadent consumer society, soft, materialistic, and incapable of sustained industrial discipline. Americans built cars for comfort, not machines for war. This belief was reinforced daily. Soldiers were told that German vehicles, like the Volkswagen Kübelwagen, embodied clever resourcefulness, lightweight, air-cooled, and designed for minimal material use. It was proof that German ingenuity could overcome material inferiority. Weber, a professional mechanic who had served since the invasion of Poland in 1939, had begun to notice troubling contradictions. The Kübelwagen broke down constantly in the desert, its air-cooled engine clogged with sand. Its two-wheel drive system left it stranded in soft terrain, precisely when mobility meant survival. Parts were increasingly scarce. Repairs required custom fitting and skilled labor, luxuries unavailable in combat zones. Yet the myth persisted. German engineering was superior by definition, not by evidence. The revelation. Inside the American Jeep. When the first intact Jeep was captured near El Alamein, Weber volunteered to inspect it. He approached with professional curiosity and the quiet arrogance of a man who believed German engineering could not be surpassed. What he found shattered that belief. 1. The drivetrain. Simplicity as strategic advantage. The Jeep's four-wheel drive system was not the complex, heavy mechanism German engineers had experimented with and abandoned. It was elegant, functional, and standardized. A simple lever engaged the transfer case, sending power to all four wheels, giving the vehicle traction in sand, mud, snow, and rock. German vehicles got stuck. The Jeep kept moving. The tactical implications were staggering. Allied units could maneuver freely. German units were immobilized by terrain. 2. The engine, designed for soldiers, not master mechanics. The L-134 Go Devil inline-4 engine produced just 60 horsepower, modest by German standards. But Weber quickly realized raw power was irrelevant. Every component was standardized. Bolts were interchangeable across all Jeeps. Air filters were accessible without tools. Oil changes took minutes. Spark plugs were positioned for easy replacement, even under fire. In the glove compartment, Weber found a technical manual, a simple, illustrated guide that assumed no specialized knowledge. An infantryman with a wrench could perform most repairs. German vehicles required master mechanics and specialized toolkits. The Jeep required common sense and a basic toolkit. The chassis, brutal function over technical elegance. The frame was heavy-gauge steel, built to absorb punishment and keep functioning. The leaf spring suspension was crude but reliable. There was no complex independent suspension, no precision machining, just brutally effective design that prioritized durability over elegance. This was industrial philosophy made manifest. Germany, designed at the edge of technical possibility. Extracting maximum performance from minimal resources. America, designed with massive safety margins, compensating for inefficiency with brute force production and standardized simplicity. The crushing mathematics, production as annihilation. Weber requested production data through intelligence channels. What came back destroyed any remaining illusions. Willys Overland, Toledo, Ohio, 1,500 Jeeps per week. Ford, Michigan, 1,000 Jeeps per week. Total U.S. output, over 12,000 Jeeps per month. By contrast, total German Kübelwagen production for the entire war would reach just 52,000 units. America produced that many Jeeps in 4 months. The ratio was 12-1, not in tanks, not in aircraft, but in the most basic unit of battlefield mobility. And the Jeeps weren't just for American forces. Through Lend-Lease, they flowed to Soviet Union, 50,000 plus units. Britain, 30,000 plus. Free French, Chinese, Polish forces, thousands more. This was not just production. It was logistical annihilation. The supply nightmare. Standardization versus fragmentation. Weber's report highlighted a deeper truth. Logistics determined battlefield reality. American system, global parts standardization, supply depots stocked universal components. Any Jeep could be repaired within hours. Vehicles were treated as expendable, replaceable tools. German system. Each vehicle model required unique parts production variations, meant even identical models needed custom fittings. Supply chains collapsed under. German soldiers who captured Jeeps often kept them, abandoning their Kübelwagons. This preference spoke louder than any technical analysis. The Jeep worked where German vehicles failed. The report that was ignored, Weber submitted a detailed technical assessment up the chain of command. It met the same fate as countless other accurate intelligence reports. Dismissal. A senior officer's notation read, "American vehicles are adequate for their purposes, but lack the technical sophistication of German engineering." This was the strategic delusion that cost Germany the war, confusing technical complexity with military effectiveness. German leadership clung to the belief that quality could defeat quantity, even as the mathematics of industrial war proved otherwise. The war unfolds. Prediction meets reality. As 1943 turned to 1944, Weber watched his predictions come true with depressing accuracy. Allied forces advanced with supply lines that never broke. Jeeps appeared everywhere, towing artillery, evacuating wounded, serving as mobile command posts. German forces grew increasingly immobilized by fuel shortages, parts scarcity, and repair bottlenecks. The Jeep's versatility was possible because of robust design and the certainty that if one was destroyed, 3 more would arrive tomorrow. The Postwar Revelation, Lessons from Defeat. In 1944, thousands of German POWs, including Afrika Korps veterans, were sent to camps across America. At places like Camp Hearn, Texas, they were assigned to U.S. motor pools, maintaining American military vehicles. For mechanics like Weber, it was an education that reshaped their understanding of industrial production. They watched American teenagers, barely trained, perform repairs that would require master craftsmen in Germany. The difference wasn't skill, it was system design. Every part had a number. Every repair had a procedure. Every problem had a solution that didn't require improvisation. This was the opposite of German craftsmanship, and it worked better. When these men returned to West Germany, they brought these lessons with them. The Wirtschaftswunder, economic miracle of the 1950s and 60s, was built partly on American pragmatism. Volkswagen Beetle incorporated standardization, simplicity, ease of repair. Former Wehrmacht mechanics became industrial engineers, blending German precision with American mass production philosophy. The final accounting: 640,000 versus 52,000. The historical record confirms Weber's insight with brutal clarity. U.S. Jeep production, 640,000 plus units. German Kübelwagen production, 52,000 units. The Jeep served in every theater, climbed mountain roads in Italy, fording rivers in France, crossed deserts in North Africa, navigated jungles in Burma, operated from -40 degrees Fahrenheit to +120 degrees Fahrenheit. General George C. Marshall called the Jeep America's greatest contribution to modern warfare. U.S. Army historian Hugh M. Cole documented how Jeep mobility gave Allied forces tactical flexibility German commanders couldn't match. The Jeep was not the most powerful, fastest, or most heavily armed vehicle of the war. It was simply the most effective. When Oberleutnant Hans Weber first examined that captured Jeep in November 1942, he saw more than a vehicle. He saw the future and Germany's place in it. He saw a machine designed by a nation that understood. Modern war is won in factories, not just on battlefields. Pragmatism beats ideology. Quantity has a quality all its own. His report was filed and forgotten, joining countless other truths that contradicted Nazi dogma. But reality doesn't care about ideology. The mathematics of production determined the outcome long before the final battles were fought. If this story of industrial truth, strategic blindness, and hard-won lessons resonates with you, if you believe history should honor the quiet professionals who saw what others refused to see, we invite you to subscribe. This channel is dedicated to preserving the real legacy of World War II, not as myth, but as testament, because the Jeep didn't just help win the war. It helped rebuild the world that came after, teaching former enemies that defeat can become prosperity when truth is finally accepted.